Hi, this is Anaiis Salles, Patreon Sage on YouTube. There is a new posting up for our Meeting the Beloved, which is the soul group conversations that we have around Sacred Union. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And if this is your first time, I do intuitive card readings freestyle, and my card readings are a form of guidance, current energies translations that are for those who are on the Sacred Union journey consciously, and they've been involved in the work for a number of years. So if you're new to it, you may still find this information helpful. I hope so. Let me just say that, that's also, Sacred Union, or some people identify as TwinFlames. That's all good. First of all, let me thank you for the amazing work that you're doing for the human collective. I've been at this for 30 years. So when I started, we were few and far between. Now, it's really interesting how the collective energy has shifted. And for those of us who've been in this for a long, long time, I guess the good news is that we're seeing the fruits of our labors. Let me put it that way. In seeing other people actually waking up, because this is what we have been investing our time and life energy in for 30 years. So thank you, and kudos to you for being on your journey and be committed to your relationship to Source, a loving relationship, and focusing on your own wholeness and sovereignty, and recognizing that Sacred Union is about you, your union with Source, and then your union with a sacred counterpart, if that is what you and your soul have chosen to do, which is to be two operating as one, one operating as two. And then you also may have the opportunity, as I have had the amazing blessing of reuniting a soul group and working on a major, very ugly, very deadly, very patriarchal system, past life scenario that hurt all of us and hurt the world. And we have been working on cleaning up that scenario it began for me back in 1998 when I was traveling around the world as a healing and retreat facilitator. And one of the places that I had to visit was England, and I had to do some specific grid work in England to clear that energy up in my life, to work through it. And that was a few years after my own awakening in 1989. So now I'm at the juncture, and so is our soul group, where some of us in the soul group are very adept at managing timelines, at collapsing timelines, at facilitating timeline leaps for those who are prepared for that kind of an energy dynamic. And more of us will be, because the waves of energy that are coming in is just what's going to happen. And so if you have some preparation for that, it's helpful. If you'd like help with preparation, please do get in touch with me. My contact information is in the description box. The other thing you should know, in addition to my freestyle intuitive reading, only for Sacred Union, I do not attach gender, biological gender, to the concepts of energy. So we have masculine energy, we have feminine energy. Masculine energy is electric. It's electrical. It's about structure. It's about organizing information, in taking the light codes that come from the feminine and organizing that information into patterns. Now, what the new masculine is doing, the masculine then has healed out of the 3D construct matrix of being a patriarchal masculine, that new masculine is assisting with establishing the new morphogenetic energy grid that is there for us all more and more now to tap into. So the other thing that I think most of you who will be watching this understand, that the feminine is the magnetic energy, and the magnetic and the electrical energy are the basis of all creation, and they have that energy moving through them directly from source. Now, one of the major shifts that's also happening with these new timeline changes, which I've talked about in other recent videos, and if you haven't looked at my other videos, you probably will want to do that. And I could specifically talk about timelines, and I specifically talk about timelines in Meeting the Beloved, which is our most recent group conversation, soul group conversation, that happened on Monday, August, I don't know, it might have been the 18th. Anyway, it's there for you to view. So here's another really important thing to remember, that the masculine energy, the healing masculine energy that is aligned with source, is having a step down, a perceived step down in power, from being out of balance in the 3D matrix, 2/3 electric and 1/3 magnetic, and no third source. So in the new energies that we are all welcoming in and integrating when we are on the sacred union journey, we'll realize that the proper mix is 1/3 source, 1/3 divine feminine, and 1/3 divine masculine, in a balanced, beautiful, harmonious flow. So this is challenging, because those of you who are aligned with yin-yang, binary code, Vesica Pisces, may just be shocked to wake up, that recognize that that's a closed system that is not aligned with source, and there is no new energy coming in, and that people who haven't awakened yet from the binary code yin-yang explanation, duality explanation, and that's what it is, it's an explanation that robs us of direct experience with our own knowing and higher self. Well, this is going to be a really challenging time. So if you're finding you're needing some assistance, please reach out. I have done workshops, retreats, I have designed programs, I have delivered programs, I've done energy healing in hospitals around the world, presented at international conferences. I really know what I'm doing. And I would be happy to help you. Now, the catch is that I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and most of the time now I am assisting people and facilitating in live circumstances, because the technology really can't be trusted at this point, although I have a pretty good relationship with my technology, and it's all about relationship, and it's all about conscious relationship. The 3D matrix is doing its best to fight back. It knows it's a dying system. It knows which one of us within this system know that it's a dying system, and we're letting everybody else know it's a dying system, and about getting out of the construct, which is a function of consciousness. So I have been finding, I have never really had that much difficulty before, but I'm finding that I'm having a really difficult time getting my videos uploaded. And I look at a lot of other YouTube videos and other readers, and I feel that my readings are on par, but I think YouTube is trying to make sure nobody sees what it is that I'm putting out. So if you happen to watch this and it does happen to resonate with you and your situation, I would very much appreciate a like, a share, and a contact, and especially a comment, because the comments kind of force YouTube to show that there's recognition. So even one sentence is great, but to just use emojis doesn't help grow a channel. Likes and thoughtful comments are really part of the algorithms that Google and YouTube use to decide who gets attention and who doesn't. So I just wanted to explain that for you because you may not be aware that that's going on, but Google is absolutely part of the 3D construct system. And so they are in collusion with making it difficult for those of us who are, I don't consider myself a light worker, I consider myself an awakened integrated being, multidimensional being. I've been aware of that since 1989. Google will make it difficult for us to reach other people because they consider us a threat. We are a threat. Our consciousness is a threat. The fact that we can communicate and transmit energy at the same time is a threat. So, what else do I want to mention to you in this video before we actually do the card reading? Divine feminines and divine masculines, you are working very hard to come into the new 1/3, 1/3 balance within yourself. And if you have met or you're involved with a sacred union partner or with a soul group, you have really come into balance within the soul group. This is a very dynamic process. And we are merging timelines because the journey is, the ascension journey, the awakening journey is returning to source. We are returning, we're on a return cycle back to source. We're going back home. We're going back to where we first became individuated consciousness. And in this journey, it's really helpful for us to feel and recognize ourselves as multidimensional beings who move through time, who recognize that time and space is very much akin to that big screen TV you have in your living room. You can turn it off, you can turn it on. You can determine which channel you're going to watch. That's what we're doing in this environment. And so there are many of us who have come from other environments who understand this and who are very, very happy to be part of the energetic shift. And we've been bringing in these energies and integrating these energies for many, many years. And sometimes we're referred to as the twin rays. Now, I don't consider myself a twin. I consider myself a sacred union counterpart. The difference for me is that we often have sense of twins being very much alike, looking alike. That's different for me than being a divine counterpart who has such a long multidimensional history that my individuality is also very well established within my sacred union. And this is true of my partner as well. His individuality is very well established. And this is helpful because one of the risks of this journey is dropping into the 3D construct consciousness, which is that your sacred union is about marriage, it's about living together, it's about moving in together, it's about having babies. This is not what sacred union is about. We are on a return journey home, back to source, back to the moment that we were emitted from source with a consciousness that could take on the experience of consciously co-creating. So sacred union is about becoming a conscious co-creator, fully awake, aware, and aligned with source. There's so much more I could tell you, but this isn't the place. So I know you want your reading, or maybe you want a little bit of education. That's certainly one of my fortes, has been for a long time. The other thing I will share with you, just because I'm bound to do it, is that with my soul group, we have come out with a line of frequency embedded water that's very specific. And we've gotten amazing feedback on how powerful the information is in this small vial of just water. And we want you to know that for 2 years we've been working with people who have been on the ascension journey, who have struggled with their emotional, healing their emotional pain bodies, who have struggled to come out of the conditioning. And we have specific frequencies for a multitude of difficulties that are just part of the landscape if you're on the ascension journey. So do look at the link within the description for Source Solutions and stop by the website and get in touch. Okay, I have to do this because otherwise the information doesn't get out there and no one knows no one knows what we've got or what we're doing. And Google is trying to literally erase me, erase my work, and hide me. I've had my channel disrupted more than once. Okay, so now we're ready to get on with the reading. And please do, when you like and share and comment, please do share on social media as well, because it is very, very helpful in, I'm already well established in the morphogenic grid, but there are more connections that are needing to be made at this time. So if you will do that, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And so does my soul group. Okay, so here we are. Now, this is going to be a reading with two parts. I am going to do an extended reading, but I want to explain when I do freestyle, the cards, just the current energies come out, they align themselves with images, and then the images give me, it's like forming a sentence. This is the way this sentence needs to be formed, because I translate current energies into frequencies and codes, but also into language. So here we have on this side of the dynamic the energy of the divine feminine, and on this side the energy of the divine masculine. So cross watch and remember again that this is about energy, it's not about gender. So there are huge, huge, huge changes following moving through the 8-8 Lion's Gate, because the wave that went through the Lion's Gate on 8-8, the sacred union return energy that went through that gate, healed that gate to make it usable again as a stargate out of the Milky Way system. And this is essential information for you, because until this last venture through the Stargate, if people did not understand the mechanics of their Merkaba vehicles, the true mechanics of those vehicles, they could go through a gate and get lost and end up deeper into the black hole system, which is what the Milky Way has become. So not only are we ascending, but we're exiting the Milky Way system, and we're returning not only home to source, but we're going to do that return through Gaia in her evolutionary forms, what a lot of people are calling the new earth. That will be different versions of Gaia, just like we have a mental body and an emotional body and a causal body. Gaia also has, because she's a conscious being, also has those parts of herself that are more emphasized in certain domains and densities. So we're moving through that energy, we're moving ourselves out of the black hole matrix of the Milky Way, and we're returning to M31. Now, we've done an amazing thing by healing the gate that was situated with alignment with Orion's belt and Sirius and the pyramids in Gizeh. This is a major, 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 major cause of celebration, because those now passing through the gate, and when as timelines continue to collapse and we need to move through gates of consciousness, it will be easier, it will be faster. So thank you very much for listening to this long preamble, but I wanted to explain. So this is the divine feminine, this is the divine masculine, and I had some basic questions going into this reading. I meditate on the cards. I ask my questions of the cards based on the waves of energy that are moving through me. I do not channel. I translate energy into information frequency, and language. And there is no other, there is nobody else here but me and Source, and occasionally Gaia. I do have an amazing team of energies who function with specific frequencies, and in that regard they're a lot like people, and you could call them guide teams. I think of them as friends and family, and I've had a very deeply personal relationship with them. Tremendous validation for going on 30 years, so they're very trustworthy. And I really appreciate that, because a huge part of this journey, if you're new to it, first of all, is getting reconnected to Source, and that will happen through your connection with Gaia, not 3D planet Earth, with Gaia. And then you're being held in a container of consciousness at other levels, atomic, molecular, quantum. And those are the levels, that's the density in which the elementals can be very, very helpful working with you and supporting you. That's why your relationship with Gaia is really, really of critical value. Okay, so I have done some other videos. I did a video yesterday, which is still uploading. It's taken me almost a whole day to get this video uploaded, about shifting timelines and the timelines that are merging. And that we have a conscious choice whether or not we're going to collapse a timeline so that we're not stuck in an energy dynamic that is going to keep us in a looping cycle or keep us stagnating. Now, you'll know when you reach the point when you can shift a timeline. I've done this in many times, and our group has done this, and we've done this real-time live while we've been traveling around the world. And I'll tell you what, that gets really intense, but things have smoothed out. So here's what it is. The divine feminines in the current energies that I will say were aligned with yesterday. For me, time is fluid. It's been fluid for a long time. I really experience time as something that I create to serve my consciousness, in the same way that I create space to serve my conscious evolution. So with regard to what was the current energies were yesterday, it was like, let everybody know we're merging timelines. Let divine feminines know that you're always going to be a few nanoseconds in the lead on this ascension journey. Why? Because you were the first emanation out from Source, was the divine feminine. And then within, the tiniest increments of time, right after that came the divine masculine. And then you immediately began working with the electromagnetic currents, plasma energy, right? That's what we're talking about here. Plasma energy, plasma currents, to begin co-creating all of what exists in creation, which is so much more than just the 3D construct Earth. And you're going to begin to find this out. And I'm very excited for you. So I'm always asking, where is the union? And when I ask where the union is, there are always two levels. The union, divine masculine energy, divine feminine energy, and Source in balance within, and divine masculine, divine feminine, and Source in balance in the external reflection. Everything happens from the inside out. Change, transformation, growth, evolution happens from the inside out. What you get to do from the outside in is support your inner journey. Your inner journey expresses itself from the inside out, and then you get to support that process in the external environment, with what you eat, with how you exercise, with the way that you communicate, with the capacity to make a bigger and bigger and bigger container of consciousness, so that more of you can literally come into and embody your physical cells. That's what we're doing here. And we're also gathering together information on that level and igniting our DNA and waking up our DNA. The activations are about gathering and waking up your DNA so that when you fully ascend and transition out of a relationship with a physical body and you're returning back to your point of origin, you are doing that and you're bringing back 12 strands of DNA into the cosmic co-creation creativity center. Let me put it that way. Bigger than Amazon. Bigger than Google. Okay, so gee, I didn't know I was going to do this much talking here, but that's what the current energies are about right now. So, what is the state of the union, and where are the counterparts in relationship to themselves, each other, source, and the dynamic of the union? So I'm going to move through this sort of one section at a time. Okay, so what came out in the order in which you see them. First we have nightingale and crow for the divine feminine. So this is air energy. This is about communication, and communication aligned with co-creativity. So here the divine feminine is on a sphere, which for me represents the transitional earth energy, Gaia herself, fully expressing the experiential nature of her journey. And in that expression, she is sharing the information and is moving through her genetic codes with the entire energy field and grid of the Earth, 5D Earth, and the human collective. Now here you see, this is like her feminine energy inside of herself, and this is, the crow is representing the masculine energy inside of the divine feminine, and it's a bigger bird, but it's clutching a different ball of energy. And you can see that these energies are poised similarly. They're different birds, and she's on this side sphere and the divine masculine is on this side sphere, and is broadcasting energy, using his electrical nature to broadcast energy, while the song that the nightingale here is singing is about moving light and matter together. Moving light and matter together. Moving light and love and matter together. And then that information gets passed to the divine masculine to work on form. And in the density in which we live, we perceive that form as dense, physical, real, and it has a very active pain body. So this is where the divine feminine is in the union. She is in balance within herself, and she's very empowered, and this is working beautifully. All right, this is the air energy. And then the cards that came out for the divine masculine are both, this is the symbol, the alchemical symbol for water. This is the divine masculine in two really beautiful forms of frequency or energy. This is the frog, which is very grounded. It is an amphibian. It can live in both air and water. And in some multicultural traditions, it represents cleansing. Very dynamic partnership with the element of water. And here we have the octopus. Now, frog has a voice. Octopus does not have a voice. Frog lives on the surface and may jump into a pond that, isn't going to be all that deep. Octopus lives in the depths. So this is again a beautiful image of the divine masculine balanced between the depth of who he is, being able to go deep and remain conscious and curious and aware. But the tentacles also represent the possibility for manipulation. The octopus is blind. It sees through its tentacles. It is a very, in a sense, representative of seeing through emotion and energy, and then translating that, as I am doing right now, into information. So this is a beautiful balance between superficial, loud voice, croaking, part of a community, and the solo energy that's a deep diver. And so this beautiful communication from depth to surface, depth to surface, depth to surface. Well, this is quite gorgeous. Really, it's beautiful. The cards lately have been incredible. I mean, I sit and I hold them and I meditate and I ask for their cooperation and their co-creation with me, and boy, have they been really stepping up. Now, the energy, in terms of where the energy is in the union energy itself right now, the current energies, this is indeed a reflection of divine counterparts, and this is a reflection of the mirroring that happens, but also the grace and the balance. And you can turn this card this way. This swan is supporting this swan. You can turn this card this way. This swan is being supported by this swan. And when you turn this card this way, they're looking into this huge sphere of consciousness and light, and they could look up and see each other if they just raised their heads. This is also the element of water, interestingly enough. Although the swan is a water bird, it is not in this deck represented by the upward triangle for air. So this is a really beautiful confirmation and validation that this is where the new timeline merge is taking the union in terms of the human collective. In terms of our individual journeys, that will unfold. But this is where we're beginning. Okay, that's what's happening now as we're moving on through our timeline merges. Okay, now next I asked what in the sacred union might be being blocked by the divine masculine and divine masculines. This was interesting because what came out was the connection, the singer of connection, and himself. And for me, this means that you divine masculines are in another very important and highly energized growth phase that's about you, your self-love, your relationship to source, your capacity to be a conscious co-creator. And this is where you're at right now. And this is a space that divine feminines, you got to learn to respect. So while we may perceive this as a block or an impedance, a frequency impedance, it's temporary unless the divine masculine takes this energy into ego, because he moves into a fearful space, not knowing, not sure of himself what to do, and he disconnects from his own intuition and from his connection to source and gets kind of lost. But he has the connection. And he has himself. And again, this to me represents the shifting dynamic of the divine masculine. You guys have to figure out what this step down in energy from 2/3 to 1/3, how is this impacting you? You may be having physical struggles. You may have been having physical struggles for several years as this journey has been unfolding. And you're working to heal those. It's a big shift for you to go from perceiving yourself as running the show with 2/3 of the electric energy and then coming into balance. and having to factor in the divine feminine and having to factor in source, and you can't escape from either of those energies anymore. They are your wholeness. It's very, very challenging. So this is where the divine masculine is maybe in a place where he's like, I'm just doing me. I don't want to know. I'm just gonna follow, my intuition. I'm not in hermit mode, but let me be. Let me be. I'm working on my mission. I'm working on trying to get the information moved into this depth, integrated into my froggy body. Please. Let me be. Love me. Love me and let me be. So that's the space that the divine masculine is in his emotional body. And he's coming out of letting go of his pain body and even recognizing that there's a difference. That now with the new energies, you let go of the pain body, and then what is there? Well, there's wholeness and sovereignty. And this is challenging for him because the connection has to be cleared of codependency. And if he's been operating from his pain body, which all the divine masculines who have been structured in the 2/3 electromagnetic energy configuration, the binary code, the Vesica Pisces, this is a major, major process for them. Major. So love them and let them be. Okay, then my next question was similar. What is going on in the divine feminine right now that is a challenge in the union dynamic? And when it's a challenge for one, it's a challenge for the other. And when we stay in balance, we do a good job of keeping our little boat afloat and not capsizing the kayak because we have a reaction flare about a behavior or a choice or a timeline shift. So here, what came out was this card, Ilby the Retriever, is a combination of loyalty. This is a beautifully tender energy. It is a humble energy, and it has the ability to communicate with sensitivity and depth. And it's not invested in being powerful, in making a show of its power. And then here we have the Bright Mother, which is the expression of the divine feminine in her physical embodiment, her sensuality, her sacred sexuality. And right now you can see in this card, she's looking here into this sphere of consciousness, and she's integrating all of this information in the state of consciousness that she's in. And so she's very kind of, you could see this is a mirror. She's focused internally. She's focused on her own energy. This could also be the energy of her mission here. And she's got some social energy around her. And this is beautiful because this is, again, moving back and forth from external to internal, external to internal. And that's what's happening here. External to internal, internal to external. So it's getting the rhythm of this in your own body awareness. This is very, very challenging and demanding. Okay. So then I asked, what does the divine feminine request from the divine masculine so that she can feel him in the dynamic, in the dynamic of give and receive, give and receive, give and receive. And these two cards, the fairy who's kissed by the pixies and ecstasis, this is the ecstasy of union. And this is both the divine masculine and the divine feminine in ecstasy. What she is requesting from the divine masculine dynamic side of the union in herself and in the external, if she's with an external counterpart, is loving kindness and attention. Attention. Needing to feel affection, warmth. This would be very helpful to the divine feminine right now because she's moving into such an incredibly powerful higher perspective that she needs the grounding that comes with touch and with affection. So this is what the divine feminine is requesting of the divine masculine energy within and without. It is a request. It's what she would prefer. It's what she would like to co-create with him, and that he could contribute to her experience by co-creating with her in that way. Now, for the divine masculine, when I asked, what is his request on this new timeline merge from the divine feminine, this is the transfiguration of his wounded inner child. He wants to experience the joy, the freedom, the lightheartedness, the trust, the innocence of having a spiritual connection that always holds his inner child in sacred reverence. Recognizing that that inner child is very much one of the deepest reflections, the playful reflections of who Source actually is, that we can be aware of in conscious relationship and feeling relationship. So this is a combination for the divine masculine. These are both still reflections of shifting from the pain body, the healing and releasing and letting go all of the patterns and templates associated with the pain body, the emotional pain body, yeah, and then opening into the clarity of an emotional body that is healed and mostly transformed, and so very, 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 very seldom triggered now in the same way that engenders separation. So both of these cards, you can see, this is a beautiful reflection of wholeness and coming out of separation with the inner child. This is a beautiful union with the inner child, and this is a beautiful union with the physical body, with tenderness, affection. Yeah? Okay. Now I gotta tell you, I go deep with these readings, so if you're looking for information about, your boyfriend or money, you probably you've already clicked off. Okay, that's how it goes. So then I asked, what is at the core of this reading? What energy is at the core of this reading? Emotional energy. And this is the singer of the chalice. So this is very much about the beautiful flowing information and energy that comes from an open heart. A loving, loving, loving open heart energy. This is love and light energy blended into one, no longer in separation. There's so many people say, put your light on it. And if you don't understand the connection between light and love, that in source they are inseparable, then you might want to think about that. You might want to ask some questions about that. And ask why you are referring to yourself as a light worker. Yeah, I would just invite you to think about that. And you may have some interesting answers there. Okay, and I know that some people right now are a little bit befuddled because the timelines are merging, and the deeper understanding of the healing work that we're doing and our return journey to home, people are going to understand that the light is focusing on the light is a reflection of the patriarchal, distorted male energy that believes that electrical charge has more value than magnetic charge. It doesn't. Okay, so the core energy is unconditional love. Yeah, okay. Now, next, I ask, what really is the divine masculine frustrated by in the union right now as the timelines are merging? And he feels like this whole thing is so delicate and so fragile. He's not sure that it's something that can be accomplished. So he may be feeling, while he's feeling strong in his individuality, he may be feeling doubtful about the connection and feeling like, this card is called the undressing of a salad. So yeah, it's a complicated process. It's like taking all the salad dressing on a salad. Once that's all been mixed in, we can imagine how challenging that would be. So here you can see this energy is managing quite a bit. This is quite a dog and pony show. And one ball here, one ball there, one ball on my shoulder, another ball here. I don't know whether somebody's going to drop that and expect me to pick it up, or that one's going to throw it at me and expect me to catch it. I can't do that right now. I'm in a very complicated process, and I'm learning. Look at this poor guy's feathers. He's like worn out, right? So that's where some of the divine masculines, you may be feeling like this, like, please, please, please don't hand me anything more that I have to be responsible for, because you're still stretching and your container of consciousness is still growing, and some of you are going to be in contraction coming through this timeline merge because you've made some decisions that didn't honor the union. And if they didn't honor the union, they didn't honor you, they didn't honor your divine partner, and they sure as heck didn't honor source. So yeah, you're feeling a little frazzled. It's exciting. There's you can see the blue charge here. This being has got a lot of energy, and that's great. Okay, so that's the divine masculine expressing a bit of frustration. So where is the divine feminine feeling like, wow, what do I need to heal? What's happening for me? I'm still in a healing process while my divine masculine has moved on. He feels his healing cycle for right now is complete. And here I am with the singer of healing. And what is it that I'm wanting to heal? I'm really focused now on feeling my comfort with affection and feeling saucy and sexy and playful and teasing, and also capable of deep, deep, deep and beautiful and powerful sexual intimacy with my divine masculine. And I'm doing some healing right now. You're doing some healing right now, ladies. This is what these cards are telling us. Because we know that many a divine feminine has profound challenges in the 3D construct of being devalued, of being having her starfire stolen, of having her innocence corrupted. I mean, we're all, if you're paying any attention to any of the news headlines, which I don't very much, but occasionally something will pop up that grabs my attention because I know it's reflective of a bigger energy dynamic. And this is the divine feminine saying, do you have any idea how many young women have been abused and left fractured and broken off the side of dumped out a limousine door? We got to heal that, and that's a big job. So love me, touch me, be affectionate, cuddle, reach out to me, I love you, and then let me be. Love me and let me be. I'm doing what I need to do. I am not in a space of rejection. I'm finished with that. My emotional pain body doesn't carry that imprint anymore. Okay, so that's going to, let me see if I want to, I think we may look at these guidance cards I'm going to do an extended reading, so there's much more to come here. But let's look at these guidance cards here. So, let me see if I want to uncover these. I think I do. Another bit of information that came out around this was what energy do both partners need to be dropping back into as they're cycling through their next growth phase and growth cycle, and in growing and expanding their consciousness. Patience is certainly one of the things that they can always choose to return to. It is so helpful. Patience is key in any relationship. When you lose the ability to be patient and understanding, you lose the partnership. Okay, so we have that. And here, with where the divine masculine can focus his experience right now, this is the Hanged Man. This is a kind of putting himself in pause so that he can feel his new emotional body and practice being with it, and giving himself time to reflect where he is in codependent interactions with women, and where he's in codependent or manipulative behaviors, generally speaking. So this is for the divine masculine, because this undressing of the salad, yeah, you know, it's enough to throw anybody into a tizzy and a free fall as we're opening up into a bigger container of consciousness. Okay. And then we have, for the divine feminine, here she is. This is her in her message of water. This is, I love you. I love you. I love you. I do. It's like the stare down. It's like the face off. It's like, are you going to give me what I need? And she's like, are you going to give me what I need? And they're in a standoff, because for the moment they're in an illusion that they are out of balance with giving and receiving. You know? Are you giving me anything to work with? Are you giving me anything to work with? They're off step. And that's primarily because this is going on. I mean, I've showed you the cards, so we understand what's happening. But this can be like, you know, what are you going to do when I'm going to do? Somebody has to go into the patience, right? To honor the connection and to communicate, love me and let me be. I love you and I'm letting you be. And when we have moved out, fully out of our pain bodies, and we've created a bigger container of consciousness for the union, we'll find our rhythm again. And I will change the timeline if I feel we've lost our rhythm and you're not paying attention. I will change the timeline. I'm empowered to do that. Okay. So I think that's kind of where I'm going to end the general reading. And divine feminines, do know when you reach a certain stage of consciousness, you are absolutely empowered to change timelines. You must always ask for permission. Even when we come into the dragon energy, which is a video I'm still uploading, I hope, we have to ask permission. That's one of the differences between conscious co-creation and manifestation. In manifestation, there's a sense of entitlement that one does not have to ask permission from anyone. That one can use one's own personal empowerment and the permission isn't required. And in conscious co-creation, we do know that permission is essential. Because if we use our free will to make decisions that are going to impact other people, anyone besides ourselves, And how can you do anything in your experience that only affects you, other than very, very, very basic, simple, dynamics? Eating, drinking, sleeping, moving, But once you move into the more complex energies, you realize that what you do has an impact and a reverberation on everything that is all around you, because all of you are in a dramatic, gorgeous orchestration together. It would be like an orchestra playing, and like the trumpet player just suddenly deciding that he was going to get up and stand up and do a solo. Well, that would certainly change the dynamic of the orchestra, wouldn't it? And everybody else's part in the orchestra. Okay, so that's it for the general reading. I'm going to go on and do an extended, and if this is where you're leaving us, just remember that the current energy from Source is a reminder to trust your soul journey, and this is the timeline merge. This is the resulting of the timelines that are merging, is that people are really once again feeling trust in the soul journey. That's coming from Source. For the divine masculine from Source, we have trust the soul mating. This is allow yourself to come into this beautiful connection, divine masculine. Once you have understood this process and you've come out of your pain body dynamics, then you're gonna be here. You're gonna be able to hold that energy. And then you're going to be in a space where you can receive what you would prefer to be receiving from your divine feminine. Because as part of the soul mating, she is going to be there to support you in the complete transfiguration and wholeness and delightful relationship with your wounded inner child. Yeah? Okay? Okay. So there's that. It's all about relationships, and it's important to show what the relationship dynamics are about and the ones that are happening right now. And then for the divine feminine, we have soul love. So yes, she is really allowing herself to feel her expression of soul love in a different way, in which the 1/3 and the 1/3 and the 1/3 become a direct expression and experience of soul love, and feeling that happening in balance. And it's soul love that is part of soul mating, that is part of the soul journey, because we are waking up to the fact that we are absolutely inseparable from the universe, and that we're in a transformation around this realization and understanding, and that we're going to be able to visualize our wholeness and our sovereignty in unimaginably gorgeous new ways. Woohoo! Okay, so if this is where we part company, thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and comment, because that helps attract other people to my information and my freestyle readings, and it kind of forces Google to steer energy towards this depth of communication, which they would prefer not to do. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Bye.